Chicos, son las 3 de la mañana, estoy escuchando ruidos súper extraños en el primer piso. Si quieres asesinarme, solo aplaude.
I've never really talked about this before, not to anyone. But every time I hear a noise in the dark, or smell mildew and old wood, I'm right back in that basement, back in that locked room at my grandparents' house. My grandparents lived in a quiet farmhouse on the edge of Pennsylvania. We visited every summer when I was a kid. The house was old, smelled like dust and wood polish, and creaked in places it shouldn't have. But I loved it, except for the basement. The basement was massive. Half of it was finished with wood paneling and a dusty old pool table. The other half? Just raw stone walls and a single flickering light bulb. And then there was the door, a steel door, built into the far corner with a heavy padlock. I asked my grandpa about it once. He just looked at me and said, "That room's not for you." One night during a thunderstorm, the power went out. My flashlight batteries were dead. My grandparents had gone to bed. I was left alone in the dark with my thoughts and the occasional creaking from downstairs. And then I heard it. 3 slow knocks coming from beneath the floorboards, from the basement, from that room. At first I thought I imagined it, but then it came again, louder, more insistent. I grabbed my flashlight, now barely glowing, and crept down the stairs. The room was there, just as always, but the padlock was on the floor. I opened the door. It was heavier than I expected. The air inside smelled like rot and cold stone. My weak flashlight barely pierced the dark, but I could make out furniture, a chair, a table, a small bed, and something else. Scratch marks on the inside of the door, long, desperate. Scratch marks. I stepped inside. That's when I heard breathing right next to me. But there was no one there, just the sound and the sudden slamming of the door behind me. I screamed and fumbled for the handle, but it wouldn't budge. I was locked in pitch black, and the breathing was still there. Closer now. I don't remember passing out, but I woke up on the cold cement floor. The door was open, the padlock back in place. I stumbled upstairs, heart pounding. My grandparents were already awake, sipping coffee. I asked them what that room was, what used to be in there. My grandmother went pale. My grandpa didn't say a word. Later that day, my grandma pulled me aside and whispered, "Your uncle. He wasn't right. He lived down there until he disappeared. They never found his body, just his nails, stuck in the doorframe. I never went back. But sometimes, when I'm alone and the night is quiet, I still hear breathing in the dark and the sound of fingernails scratching wood." I used to rent this old house with a basement apartment. Nothing fancy, just me, fresh out of college, happy to be on my own. But looking back, I should have known something was off. The landlord told me the basement unit was occupied, but the tenant was quiet, kept to themselves. I never saw them, not once, but I heard them. Footsteps at night, low murmuring. Once, I swear I heard someone crying. Things got weird after the first month. I'd wake up to find the basement door, which was supposed to stay locked, slightly open. Food missing, lights flickering. I asked the landlord about it. He got real serious and said, "Don't go down there. The tenant has issues, mental health stuff." That made me feel guilty. I figured they were just troubled. Until the night I found something under my bed. It was a note, sloppy handwriting. It said, "He doesn't know I'm up here." I freaked out, called the police. They searched the basement and found nothing. The landlord acted pissed, said I was harassing his tenant, but things kept happening. I started locking my bedroom door at night. I even set up a cheap camera, and that's when I saw him, A man, crawling out from the air vent. Thin, pale. He just stood at the foot of my bed, watching me sleep. I moved out the next day, told the landlord I couldn't stay. Before I left, I asked again about the basement tenant. He looked confused. There hasn't been anyone down there in years. He showed me the lease records. The last tenant killed himself in the basement. Sometimes I dream about that pale man. I see him watching, crawling through vents and cracks. And when I wake up, I swear, I hear someone breathing under my bed. And that was my story. If you're still here, I hope the dark doesn't feel a little closer now. These aren't just stories to me, they're memories, scratched into my mind like fingernails on wood. If you've ever heard, seen, or felt something you couldn't explain, you're not alone. Subscribe for more real horror. And maybe, just maybe, we'll make it through the night. Until then, lock your doors, check your basement, and whatever you do, don't ignore the noises in the dark. I'll see you in the next Read Door Files story.